Welcome back, everybody, to my annual October ranking series. This year I'm counting down my 31 favorite horror movies from the 2010s. So at number 13, we have a South Korean horror movie. Very dark, very depressing South Korean horror movie. And that is Bedevilled.
퍼질러 있지 말고 국시라도 말어야.
So this movie was released in 2010 and was released in America in 2012. And it is a revenge movie. And it's a revenge movie that fits into the horror genre. South Korean horror movie that gets really depressing, really dark. It's another one of those movies that I can't really recommend to everybody because of how dark and depressing it gets. Now, this is a revenge movie, but it takes a while to get to the revenge, and until you get to the revenge, you are kind of wallowing in misery. So keep that in mind if you have not seen this movie and you want to check this movie out. So we have two main characters in here, two women, Hwang and Kim Bak-nam. We don't really see Kim at the beginning of the movie, but we get to her eventually. We start off with Hwang. She works at a bank and she witnesses something and is forced to take vacation because she's afraid to testify over what she has seen. So she decides to visit this island where her grandparents used to live, and she had befriended this young woman named Kim. Now, this is a small, undeveloped island off of South Korea, and when she gets there, she meets Kim, and Kim does not have a great life. So when she arrives there, everyone on the island is basically treating Kim like a slave. Her husband is horrible to her. She suffers a lot of physical, psychological, and sometimes sexual abuse from her husband and the other people there. Everyone in that village looks down on Kim, and basically, like women in general, but yeah. So we watch Hwang see the horrible things that are happening to Kim, and Kim is trying to figure out a way off of this island and wants to use Hwang to help her get off the island. Now, I'm not going to go into too many details, but a lot of horrible things happen, and then when we get to the third act, Kim starts seeking revenge. And she basically becomes the fucking Terminator, just going through this island and ripping everyone apart. And that's the basic gist of the movie. We're watching this person go through hell, and then in the third act, she snaps and goes on a killing spree. And it's a very satisfying killing spree, but also a very scary killing spree, just because she loses it, and then she, like I said, she becomes a slasher villain and just starts killing everybody on this island. It's satisfying, but it's also suspenseful and intense. But that's the main thing you have to think of, you have to know when going into this movie. It is a depressing film. You are watching this woman go through hell. It's nowhere near on the level of something like Martyrs, or something of that nature, but you are watching this person, like, just have this miserable life, being treated like a slave, wanting to get off this island, and after things fail time and time and time again, and so many other things go wrong with her, she just starts killing people. And you are waiting for it to happen. It doesn't really happen until the third act, so you have to keep that, but it's well worth it. This is another one of those slow burns that people think that slow burns are boring. This is one of those movies I point to show, no, it's not. Like, the best way to do a slow burn horror movie is the movie kind of starts off as a different kind of movie in a different genre, with horror happening around the edges of the story, and but the horror slowly starts to invade the story until it takes over in the third act, and then the movie becomes a full-blown horror movie. So this is it has psychological elements. It eventually becomes a revenge movie, and this definitely is one of those Descent into Madness movies. And you all know how much I love Descent into Madness movies, because we're seeing what Kim is going through, and we know she's eventually going to snap, and people are going to die because of it. But yeah, the third act is just really, really intense. Kim would give Michael Myers and Jason a run for their money because of how she just becomes a slasher villain or a slasher in this third act. It's hard to call her a villain. This is one of those movies that it's really hard to call the killer a villain. I feel the same way about Carrie. Carrie does eventually kill a bunch of people, but it's because of all the abuse that she received, and she eventually snaps, unlike, her mother in that movie, who I think is the real villain of the movie. Not condoning Carrie for her actions in that movie, but I can't really call her the villain. I think she's more of a victim of circumstance in that movie. Same thing with Kim in Bedevilled. Her husband is the real villain of this movie, and the other villagers, you can say, are the real villains of this movie. Just tormenting this poor woman until she eventually snaps and then starts going on a killing spree. So while you don't really condone her for her actions, you can't really condemn her either. It's like, yeah, I get why she's doing this. And Hwang is an interesting character because you don't know what to make of her. It's like, is she a good person? Is she a bad person? And she has a very interesting arc throughout the film. So keep that in mind when going into this movie. But Bedevilled is a very good movie. It is a movie that I think is worth watching around Halloween, but not necessarily for a movie night. If you're going to have a movie night, you want to watch something that's more fun. And while Bedevilled is a great movie, I can't really call it fun. It's not a movie that you think, oh, hey, we're going to have a movie night, we're going to watch Bedevilled. It's one of those movies that you have to be in the right frame of mind to watch because of how depressing it gets. So keep that in mind. Bedevilled is a great, depressing revenge horror movie from South Korea that I do think you should check out. Just keep in mind what kind of movie you're getting into. You're getting into something sad and depressing.